Now, one of the lessons to be learned from the midterms was the failure of RNC and GOP party leaders to highlight the races that really mattered. Well, California is a prime example where even a week later, the GOP is still losing races they should have won. Republicans now have the least representation in that state since the Civil War. Oh, it's a heartbreak. Here to react are two Republican leaders in the House who were reelected today to their positions for the 116th Congress today. House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy, of course, hails from California, and House Majority Whip Steve Scalise, whose book, I love it, I'm holding it, Back in the Game, One Gunman, Countless Heroes, and the Fight for My Life, just hit the shelves yesterday. I love the book. Congressman, thank you so much for being here. We have to talk about the midterm results first. Congressman McCarthy, I want to talk to you about this California deal because I've been talking to a couple committee people in California, and they are enraged because they felt like they were outspent in that state, they were outmaneuvered, and there was no reason at least maybe five of those seats should flip Democrat. What insight can you give us?
Well, a couple things have happened in California. First of all, they created this top two system. So here we are in the top two. It pushes out Republicans.
Well, no one understands what that means. Top two.
Top two is in a primary. Whoever gets the top two numbers go on to the general election. So in our Senate race, we didn't even have a Republican. And now we're finding when we had our Senate race before, there's no Republican.
Yeah, but let's talk about the House races because those
this is what causes the problem because you're not getting the quality head. So we didn't have a strong governor candidate that could help carry us through. We didn't have a strong statewide ticket. We had 7 seats in the congressional that Republicans currently hold that Hillary carried. And then we had Michael Bloomberg come over the top of it with about $5 million in each race. They spent $150 million more than we had in this process. Now, we went out with the Vice President, Mike Pence, and we raised more money than ever had before. But when you can write a $5 million check and you focus just on Stephen Knight, or if you go into, look at Mimi Walters. She was ahead by 6,000 votes on Election Day, winning. And then these provisional ballots come forward, and so all of a sudden we're losing.
Is there transparency in looking at these provisional ballots in California?
You know the difference between California and Florida? We don't have a Republican governor. We don't have Republican.
So you can't. What's the oversight like?
Very, very difficult. We're in there with our attorneys right now.
Any fraud?
We're finding others. You wonder if they're registered to vote in the process. It's the election law what they going through. We're analyzing all of them now. But we were ahead, and now we've lost Jeff Denham. We're behind in Mimi Walters. Young Kim, we're challenged it. David Valadeo. And then you look at Dana Rohrabacher. Yeah. Here are seats that were fundamentally different on Election Day.
Well, we got to learn that one fast because that's a big one. Congressman Scalise, I want to also talk about what's going on the Democrat side before we talk about what might happen going forward with the Republicans. There's a lot of pushback against Nancy Pelosi becoming the next speaker. You all can vote in the speaker's race, right? It's for everyone to vote. Would you support Nancy Pelosi? Will you announce your support for Nancy Pelosi as speaker tonight?
I think they deserve Nancy Pelosi as speaker, but I sure don't want to see it. I went through 2.5 years of Nancy Pelosi as speaker, and I came in not long after Kevin, and she was speaker, and you saw what she did to the country. I mean, they ran through Obamacare with the famous, you got to pass the bill to find out what's in it. They did cap and trade in the House. They did,
yeah, but isn't it more radical than she, right? The next person could be worse.
Their party's even further left. You saw
so why wouldn't you want Pelosi?
Cortez from New York was actually protesting in Nancy Pelosi's office because she doesn't think Nancy Pelosi is liberal enough. Imagine that. So that's how far left of center their party has moved. And if they govern that way, Laura, that's not how they campaigned. All those districts that they flipped seats from Republican to Democrat, those candidates didn't say they were going to be more liberal than Nancy Pelosi. In fact, many of them said they were going to be pro-life, pro-gun, and anti-Pelosi. Their very first vote in January will determine whether or not they keep or break that promise.
You think she ultimately gets the speakership?
Yeah,
Pelosi?
I think she does.
She does. Even we got a whole list of people who are saying she shouldn't run. They don't want her to run, but it won't be enough.
They will fold because they came from the minority to the majority. They won with women votes. They elected a number of women. They're going to remove the woman speaker for a man. But think of this. If they go back to the same old
subpoenas are going to be flying.
Oh, yeah, but this is the old leadership, right? Their average age in the process more 78, but this is the same leadership they had before. Nancy, Steny Hoyer, and Clyburn. That the American public rejected.
Youth. It screams youth. What about you guys? So let's talk about
our
speakership.
average age is 52.
Let's talk about what is in store with you versus Jim Jordan? Obviously, the president wants Jordan to be, he tweeted out, I guess, today, he's interested in Jim Jordan going to the judiciary, House Judiciary, to be a, kind of a help to him on judiciary.
The president and I talk almost every single day. He just called me tonight talking about, we just had our election. Jim Jordan and I came in together. I think we're more united than we've ever been. Jim serves on oversight. Jim also serves on judiciary, so he's there to make those fights. I think as we move forward, we'll do our steering committee, and people can run for the ranking member slots. Those slots are open, and the conference will decide.
How are you going to deal with these subpoenas? They're promising investigations and everything from the naming of the post office pavilion and the licenses and the emoluments clause and,
Laura,
who knows?
Look, the Kavanaugh hearing showed that the country doesn't want that kind of obstruction. Well, look, President Trump's worked really hard to get this economy back on track, and we've worked very close with the president, and he's talked to a lot of us about the things that we want to do to keep the economy going. If they want to focus on turning back the economic growth, trying to raise taxes, they're not going to have that happen. If they want to try to just sit there and obstruct and block everything that the president wants to do and go down the impeachment road, that's not what they those members that flipped seats from Republican and Democrat campaigned saying they would do opposite of that. So if they do, they're going to pay a dear price, and ultimately that's one of the ways we get the majority back in 2 years.
Congressman McCarthy, a lot of concern about the caravan that was supposed to never get here. It was getting a month away, or don't worry, it's not an emergency. Well, a lot of people in the caravan are in San Ysidro tonight.
Oh, they're on the wall.
Yeah, they're on the wall. They're climbing over the fence. So it's not a wall, but they're climbing over the fence on top.
In California, we built the wall, and that's part of the funny
part of it.
Added, but part of it, we have to finish it.
Are they passing ballots up to them? Like, here, pass it to him, and then pass it on.
They write the provision.
But what about the lame duck? What's going to happen to the lame duck? A lot of people are worried that's either going to be a bad amnesty deal, a cram through of amnesty, not going to get funding for the wall. The president needs that funding.
Look, on the House side, we've been very good about this. We have more than $5 billion. We've been the most going through. That's addition to the billions we've already sent. The Senate has already been the challenge. We're working with the president and the Senate because we are still in the majority till January. And the American public wants their border secure. So that's why we're moving forward. We will be coming back in after Thanksgiving as well. We have 7 of the bills to get finished, and one of them happens to be dealing with this as well. I think we'll get it done.
We need to fully fund the wall, and we've been working with President Trump
$5 billion doesn't get
to do this. But
that's why I introduced a bill to build the wall.
Ultimately, let's have this fight in the next few weeks.
Let's plug the book, though.
Back in the game. First of all, you look great. You're doing great. You're an inspiration to so many people. How you dealt with hardship. We all deal with hardship in our life. You dealt with really tough stuff over the last year. And I just want to tell you, just for me and watching you, I got teared up because you are incredible. And this book is important for people to read and understand, much better than anything McCarthy has ever written. That's that dry policy stuff. This is personal inspiration, but also why you can never give up. Your faith has been so important to you.
Yeah, and Laura, faith was so important to me. One of the reasons I wanted to write this book is to feature all the people that helped me get back in the game. And there were real heroes. There were real miracles that happened. And my wife Jennifer and I went through and we called them the little miracles, that we just one thing after the other that happened on that ball field and afterwards that you can't explain any way except that they were true miracles from God. And then the heroes, from David Bailey and Crystal Briner, who risked their lives, got shot. In the book, we go into detail about that shootout and just how
stuff that never had been revealed before.
Yeah, they almost ran out of ammo. David was almost hit fatally. There were a lot of this. All of it's in the book. It's going to be something that everybody can get something out of about a happy ending.
The day of that shooting, he won't remember this because he was.
We're going to go to black here in a second.
But one thing I will tell you, we were there that day waiting for Jennifer. He's lucky he's alive.
No, we thought we lost you a number of times.
The doctor,
God is good.
Thank you so much. Back in the game, power of prayer. That's what I take away from it.